everybody. I'm Hillary Atkin. Welcome to this edition of Hillary's Happy Hour. And I'm thrilled to have Danielle Macdonald from the new film Falling for Figaro with me today. Danielle, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Great, thank you. In Falling for Figaro, you play a very successful fund manager, Millie, living in London with her boyfriend, who happens to be her boss. And then she makes a decision to go entirely on another track. So tell us what happens.
I think Falling for Figaro is so much about following your dreams, and I think that that's what happens. We meet Millie, and she's set in her life. She's happy. It's great, but there is something really missing, and it's her passion that she kind of never really let out, and she never really pursued. And she decides it's not too late to, and she really, really wants to give it a go, and she's never really going to feel fulfilled until she does. And so she moves to the Scottish Highlands and starts training with a very unique opera coach. And in doing that, her whole life kind of changes, and she learns a lot about herself along the way.
I found the film to be just delightful, except for part of her experience with her coach, Megan.
Yes.
If you want to expand on the learning experience of going through that.
I mean, I have honestly heard some really extreme stories about singers with their teachers, and I think that was portrayed in the film very well. I think it may have been a little heightened as well. I certainly hope it's a little bit heightened, because there is a moment where Megan, who is played by Joanna Lumley, grabs my tongue and yanks on it and basically strangles me at the same time. And it was definitely a very unique experience, but it was really, really fun to play around on set and get to do that. And yes, she is definitely an interesting character that kind of stirs things up, but that's kind of part of the fun of it. So
it was, especially after you cured yourself with the saltwater gargling. But I wanted to ask you, how much training did you actually undergo for this? And what were your favorite arias to perform?
I did actually train a lot. I mean, I listened to a lot of opera, and then I had vocal coaches. I had 3 different vocal coaches depending on where I was at the time. And it was really incredible and very helpful. But ultimately, I sang on the day so that I could get the breathing and the performance. But I was replaced by a professional opera singer in post-production, because I am not a professional opera singer, and it would not have been fun listening to me. So knowing that was going to happen going into production was very helpful, because it allowed me to feel more confident knowing that no one would have to hear it. So it's great. But I watched two operas live in person, and I also watched a lot of clips. And my favorite aria to perform, I think, honestly, was the duet that I have with Hugh Skinner, with Max's character at the very end. That was so fun for us to learn. We shot that on the first day and the last day of shooting, of filming, and it was honestly just so fun to kind of like do it with someone else, to be in it with someone else. And I loved the story of it and the back and forth nature of it. I loved the original performances of it as well. That was really fun.
Yeah, it was a thrilling way to cap off the film. But I wanted to go back. You mentioned the Scottish pub in the village that your character lived in, and talk about the people in the pub. I love them, but about the cultural differences, because you portray an American in the film, yet you're actually Australian born.
Yes. I mean, basically, I think one of the major plot points was they really wanted someone that felt like an outsider coming into this little town. So originally it was kind of written, everyone was Scottish, and they had someone from London coming in as an outsider, which is a big thing there. And then obviously they hired a lot of British people. So they were like, you know what, let's have you be American, because that obviously is an entirely different country and will feel very like an outsider entering a very different world. And it really did. So whereas an Australian, I don't think would have been as drastic. you know, there's a lot of Australians in the UK. So it felt a lot more like they were on two entirely different wavelengths, which was really fun to kind of get to enter that world, and everyone's this kind of like one way and this one energy, and Millie's just like a positive American. And it was really, yeah, I think the culture clash was really fun to work into in the film, and I think that it allowed for a lot of the comedic moments, so it was great.
Absolutely. I think audiences will really appreciate it. And Danielle, we are coming to the end of our happy hour. I wanted to propose a toast to you and the success of Falling for Figaro from IFC Films.
Thank you so much. I have water, but I will.
Cheers. Thanks again.
Cheers.